So today I want to show you the system that I have used to turn Shft into the only choice for our ideal customers. Now, when I say only choice, what I mean is that our ideal customers continue to choose us time and time again over our competitors. In fact, most of the prospects that book a discovery call with us, they aren't even considering an alternative. They haven't looked at other brand agencies. They don't have other proposals. We're not competing on price or what we actually offer or the deliverables that we're going to give. 90% of our prospects have already chosen to work with us before they even book a call. That is the level of onlyness that we've developed here at Shft and that we install into the businesses of our clients. And so today I want to walk you through that system, show you how it works, how you can build it, so that you can start becoming the only choice for your ideal customers. Now, when we talk onlyness, or becoming the only choice, there really are kind of two ways that people build a business. Most try to position their businesses as being the best. We have the best quality, we have the best care, we are the industry leading, we are the single source of truth, we care about our clients more than everyone else. All of that kind of messaging is what is called best positioning. You are trying to position yourself as being the best in the industry. And for most founders, that seems to make sense. If you're the best, people want to work with the best. So if you position yourself as the best, people are going to want to work with you. But really what this does in the mind of your ideal customer is it positions you and shows you as being the same as all the rest of your competitors. If these black circles are your competitors and this pink one is you as your business, what happens when you try to compete on being the best, or you try to position your company on being the best, what you're really communicating to the market is that we are like everyone else that you can buy from. We provide the exact same value you can get elsewhere, but because we call ourselves the best, we're going to charge you more. And so ultimately, this idea of being the best is competing on price, because you are saying we provide the exact same thing as everyone else in the market. We just do it better, so we charge more money. And ultimately, this idea of better gets taken away. So they see we provide the same value in a better way at a higher price. So what your ideal customers see is we provide value at a higher price. Well, if that's the case, I can go anywhere else, get the same thing you provide, and pay less. This idea of being the industry leading, being the best, is really another way of competing on price. The other way to position your business is by being the only. Now, when you are the only, what we're not saying here is that everything you do in your business is different, that you are the only one who sells cars. You're the only one who designs websites. You're the only one who builds brand strategies. You're the only one who provides this piece of equipment. That is the wrong thinking of only. What onlyness is saying is that when you look at the market as a whole, when you look at your competitors, when you have something that you do that your competitors can't or won't do, what you're saying is we provide a value up here that you can't get from the competitors. So if you want this value, whatever it is that you provide, whatever that uniqueness, that onlyness, that differentiator, whatever word you want to use there, whatever that onlyness factor is in your business, you are the only one that provides it. So if your customers down here want that value, they can look at your competitors and they're going to see these competitors don't provide it, but you do. And that puts you in a very unique position to be able to charge what you want, to be able to build customer loyalty, to be able to have a wait list of clients that are ready and willing to work with you and only you. This is how successful businesses position themselves. Not as the best, but as that there is a certain value that you want from the market that you can only get here. It is, consider it this way, it is the only legal way to build a monopoly. If you are the only business that provides this value, you command the market. And that's what we're trying to build here, so that when your ideal customers are looking for the value that you bring, you're the only one that they can find it from. So, how does this work? This is going to require kind of a reshaping of how we think about, or how you think about your business. This onlyness factor sits at the center of your business. This is what is determined first. Before you build an offer, before you start marketing, before you start doing sales, before you build messaging, before you try to craft an experience, you are trying to figure out what is the only thing that we provide that none of our competitors can provide. It is figuring out this onlyness factor. It sits at the core of your business, and everything else is built around it. So once you determine what is this onlyness that you're going to provide, this unique value, this one thing that comes from your business that doesn't come from anywhere else, then you start working on your offer. Now, most of our clients come to us after they have an offer, they've been selling it in the market, they might have seen some success, but they've experienced this level of like revenue stagnation. They're trying to break into a new market, they're trying to reach a higher level of revenue, but no matter what they do, they just can't break through. So in that case, maybe you already have an offer, maybe you already are doing marketing, you have messaging, you have an identity, you have a bit of an experience. That's okay. You find this onlyness and you reshape everything around it. So you find this unique value, this thing that only you do, and then you look at your offer and you say, okay, what needs to change in our offer to guarantee that when a customer buys this, they feel this onlyness? That when they purchase our service, they purchase our product, when they work with us, that offer, that thing that we're selling, speaks back to our unique value. Same with your identity. Once you have your onlyness, once you have your offer, then you start working on this identity. What's the tone and voice that needs to come through? What's the personality? What design do we need to have in order to, again, push back to this onlyness? This is why I very adamantly say you should never start with design first. Because when you start with design, when you try to build identity before you know what makes you different, your identity, your design will never point back to your onlyness. This line here, going from identity back to onlyness, it will never communicate it because you haven't determined it. And everything in your business, from your offer, your identity, your messaging, your experience, your pricing, everything should point back to this thing that they can only get from you. Then you want to work on your messaging, finding a way to communicate this onlyness in a clear and compelling way. And that compelling part is important, because a lot of people will tell you just have a clear message. Something like, we build websites that sell. Great, I know what you do. But every other website builder also builds websites to sell. So that doesn't give me a compelling reason to buy from you. So you need a message that points back to your onlyness, not just what you do. And lastly, crafting an experience, your marketing, your content, your operations, how people are going to interact with your business, their buying funnel, what they go through in order to purchase from you. All of it, if you can probably guess already, should point back to your onlyness. Everything in your business revolves around this one thing. Here is the unique value we bring to the market, the thing you can only get from us that you can't get from anywhere else. Figure this out first, and everything else becomes easier to do. It's easier to write messaging when you know why your ideal customer should buy from you. It's easier to have an offer that they want when you know this unique value that you bring to the market. It's easier to craft an experience when you know what it is that you bring to the market that no one else can. Onlyness sits at the center of your business. It's not your values, it's not your mission, it's not your purpose. Those are all important. But when it comes to generating revenue, when it comes to resonating with clients, your onlyness is the reason they buy from you. So when I sit with prospects on a discovery call, one of the first questions I ask is like, why should a customer ever buy from you when they can find your competitors within 2 seconds on Google or in an LLM like ChatGPT? Why should I go with you? If you can't answer that in one sentence, you don't know your onlyness, which means everything else your business does is not aligned with the reason why customers should buy from you. And you can see this when sales are hard, when you can't generate demand for your offer, when it feels like you're just flushing money down the toilet trying to do marketing, but you're generating leads that don't actually want to pay your price. Like all of that is a sign that you don't have your onlyness in place. That should sit at the center of your business, and everything else should point back to it. So, how do we find it? If you followed my content at all on like LinkedIn or you're subscribed to my email newsletter, you've probably seen this Venn diagram before. It is my favorite to use. Your onlyness, the thing that you do that no one else does, is found at the intersection of three things. What you do as a business exceptionally well, something you can do repeatedly, something that is kind of it feels almost normal to you. Like when we do this with our customers, what we find is that like their onlyness tends to be something that is so integral to their company, so like baseline to what they do every single day that it does not feel special to them. It's a process, it's a deliverable, it's something you do that is so ingrained in the company that it feels normal, that you could repeat 99.99% of the time. And whether or not you have an onlyness, most businesses do. Every client I've worked with has something they do differently. But there might be one or two, there have been one or two that really didn't have something different. So this is something you do or something you could do. Some new thing that you could introduce into the company that you know that you have passion around and you know that you could perform well 99% of the time. It also needs to be something that your customers want or need. And this is key here because when I see a lot of businesses do differentiation, they pick something that doesn't really matter to their ideal customers. So, for instance, one of the examples I love to use every time I do a podcast, every time I explain this to a client is I could differentiate Shft by showing up to every workshop dressed as a clown. That is different. I could be, instead of sassy Jason, I could be clown Jason. That looks more like a pig than a clown, but you get what I mean. I'm a clown. I could dress that way. But is that a reason that my ideal customers would buy from me? Not at all. No one is going out there saying, I want to find a company where the brand strategist dresses up as a clown. That's not a reason to buy. It's why this idea of being the best or caring also is not a differentiator. Because when you say, we care, this is why you should buy from us because we care more about you than your competitors do, that is a basic requirement of getting my money as a customer. So one of the things I tell my clients to do is when you think you might have a differentiator, ask yourself, is the opposite also true? Because differentiation should pose a choice to your ideal customers. Do they want a business that cares, or do they want a business that doesn't care? If none of your clients would say, you know what, we don't want a business that cares, we want a business that doesn't care, this is our choice. If that is not a viable reason to buy, this is not a differentiator at all. It has to be something that matters to them, what they want or need. And lastly, it has to be something that your competitors can't or won't do. And this is a little tricky because can't is easy. Can't is about resources. They don't have the money, they don't have the time, they don't have the facilities, they don't have the team. They physically can't do the thing that you do. Won't means it's not part of their identity. So let me give you an example. I'm sure you've heard of liquid death. They basically put water in a beer can. That is their differentiator. It was their packaging, how they present the product to you as the consumer. Is it something that other water companies can't do? Not at all. Every water company could put water in a beer can. In fact, some people have even tried copying liquid death and doing something similar. They can do it. Most of them won't do it then. Let's look at Voss as an example. Voss is the water that's in a glass bottle. Could Voss put their water in a beer can? 100%. Super easy to do. Would they? Not at all. Because the customers they're going after are not the same customers that Liquid Death is going after. Now, that water is a commodity product, and yet both of these have separate brands that make them stand out as the only choice for the very small group of people that they're going after. The people that buy Liquid Death wouldn't buy Voss, and the people that buy Voss probably would not buy Liquid Death. It is an option of won't. So in the intersection of these three, something you do, something your customers want or need, and something your competitors can't or won't do, sits this onlyness. This thing that you could own in the market that your ideal or your competitors can't own. So how do you build this onlyness? One, we start with your process or your offer. This is the process that I take my clients through when we are trying to dig out their differentiator. We start with the offer and their process. What is it that they actually are selling or want to sell? How are they going to deliver it? What's unique within the process that they have or the product that they're selling that we could own? Then we look at their ideal customers. And really what we're trying to determine is who's ideal, meaning if you already have customers, who are the customers that you want 100 more of? That you want every client to be like this one customer. Who are they? Those are your ideal customers. Those are the ones that you want to build your brand around. Who is your total addressable market? Who is the customers that could buy? You might want them, you might not want them. You don't want to build your brand around them because maybe they don't buy the full service or they don't stay as long, but it's money, it's revenue. Let's be honest, I'm a business owner too. I want revenue. And then you want to look at your band class. Who are the types of clients you never, ever, 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 ever want to take on again? You want to know your ideal customers and your TAM. These are the ones you want to research. These are the ones you want to understand well. You want their buying journey. You want to know what are their motivations, what gets them to open their wallets and give you money. Lastly, you want to look at your competitors, and really you're not looking at them to understand what they do to copy or to do it better. You're looking for the gaps. What are they not doing that you could come in and exploit? And ultimately what you're trying to do is figure out what is something you can own. Because all onlyness really is about owning something in the market. So once you do all this research and you know your offer well enough and your processes and you know your customers and you know your competitors, what you want to do is write what I call an onlyness statement. And this really is it's your brand strategy. It is the overarching strategy for everything in your business. You get this down, marketing makes sense, sales makes sense, operations makes sense, HR makes sense. Everything you do makes more sense when you have this statement written. And it goes like this: we are the only category. So, where are you going to play? Are you going to be a web design firm? Are you a brand positioning agency? Are you a vacuum pump manufacturer? Like, what is the category you're going to play in that provides what kind of unique value? What can I get from you that I can't get anywhere else by your differentiated method? How are you going to provide this unique value? What is the thing that you're going to do that for your ideal customers? Who are they? What are they feeling before they work with you? And unlike your competitors. So this statement is really twofold. It is your onlyness statement. This is your differentiation. This is why people buy from you. These two lines here. But the whole thing is your positioning. It's how you're different in the market. It's how you want to be seen by the right people as different and unique from your competitors. So you start with your onlyness and unique value. Everything we've looked at so far in this video is understanding that your onlyness or unique value comes first. Then you build out your offer, your personality, and your message. And these all should point back to your onlyness. So when I see your message, I understand why I should buy from you. Once these are in place, then you start working on your marketing, your sales, your operations, and your HR. So when we work with a company to build out their brand strategy, we start here with their onlyness and unique value. And then we build out these. And we send this to the client and we say, this is your brand strategy. This is how you should show up. This is how you're unique in the market. This is the unique position you should own. Once this is laid down, then we start working here. Because understanding your unique value is great. Understanding this thing that makes you the only in your industry is vitally important. It is the foundation for your business. But it needs to be communicated through your marketing, sales, operations, and who you hire and work with. If not, you will never own it in the market. You'll have a great idea. You might have something you do different, but if people don't know it, if they can't see it, if they can't understand it, it doesn't matter that you're doing something different. Your marketing, your sales, your operations, your HR all needs to point back to this onlyness factor. And when you do, kind of going back to this first screen we looked at, when you build out this onlyness framework, you start to become the only one. That when customers start looking at you and looking for the solution that you offer, they look at your competitors and say, they don't have it. They look at you and they say, well, that's what I want. And so they choose you over the competition. The reason we install a system like this is because statistically, when you are the only, there's been multiple tests and research done on differentiated businesses. And what they have found is when you're differentiated, when you're the only, you have a 58% higher revenue growth, 73% higher customer loyalty, 36% more repeated purchases, 40% higher profit margins, and you can charge 20 to 30% higher prices than if you weren't differentiated. What all of this means, I know it's a bunch of numbers and stats that I threw at you, and that is incredibly boring. What this means is you can charge more, you can keep more, and you can get customers on a wait list. They would rather delay and hold off and work with you than work with your competitors. This is what happens when you are the only. And this is the system that we install into our clients' businesses. We help change their mindset on how they see their business. We figure out what is that unique value? How do you communicate it? How do you build an offer around it? How do you own it in your marketing, your sales, your operations, and in your HR? Because when you do that and you give it now, I'm understand this is not a quick fix. You get a holiness strategy, and within a week you are top of the market. You're the one that everyone chooses. This takes time because this is positioning. This is not a tactic or a hack. This is building a sustainable business over the long term. When you have a differentiated business, it is more sustainable and it makes more money, which I think is what most of us want. And I'm sure if you're watching this video and you've gotten to this point, that's what you want too, is a sustainable business that you don't have to worry about the ups and downs and, oh, where's our next bit of revenue going to come from, where you have a line of clients around the block saying, you know what, there's these competitors over here we could go to, but we don't want them. We want your business. This takes time. But if you understand what makes you the only, if you understand that unique value and you build this system around that, if you build this where your differentiation sits at the middle of your business and everything else is built around that, you will become the only business that your ideal customers want to work with, which means you're not competing anymore. And that is an epically awesome feeling when you know someone jumps on a call with you and is like, hey, talk to me about what you do. And you know that you don't have to compete. When you know that they're not looking at your competitor and have their price sheet next to them. It's like, well, I know someone who could do it for $2,000 cheaper. Could you knock that off and maybe we would work with you? And then they string you along over multiple proposal revisions until finally they're like, you know what, we decided to go with someone else. When you are the only, they can only get it from you, meaning you are competing now on the value you bring, not the price tag. And that is an epically better place to be. So if you have questions about this, if you are interested, if you want to turn your business into the only choice, if you check the comments in this video, the description in this video, I have a link for the Onlyness brand system. It breaks down everything we do, the pricing, the time commitment. It's all in there for you to check out. Or in the description as well is the link for our Onlyness system or Onlyness statement template. It walks you through all this, gives you a fill in the blank template for you to write your Onlyness statement. This statement right here. It'll help you to write that. 5 video lessons, the fill in the blank to write this, as well as some implementation resources. That's all in the link below to get you going so that your business can become the only choice. Because once you are, competition doesn't really matter. And this is not you building a new category. It's you playing in an existing category, but doing it at such a different way that people look at you and say, you know what? Every other web agency does this, but you do that. Every other brand agency does this, but you do that. Every other consultant does this, but you do that. It allows you to compete on value instead of price. So check the links in the description below. Like I said, I've got my Onlyness brand system down there, which walks you through how you can get my one-on-one help building this in your business, or get our Onlyness statement template, which will walk you through how you can write this statement yourself with 5 short video lessons and some implementation resources.